here. Today's topic of discussion is from curiosity to compromise how users fall into cybercrime. I'm Shivani and it's my privilege to anchor today's session. CyberShield was built on a single belief. If every volunteer learns how to teach cyber safety, well, we can protect thousands of people from who have never feared of phishing, fraud, grooming, or digital rights. With the end of this session or this evening, we are shaping ourselves into trainers who speak with clarity, confidence, and purpose. Today is about building that foundation. Before we teach anyone else, we must understand the battlefield we are standing on, the digital threats, the psychology of scam, and the tricks criminals use to control their target. If you are ready to start this journey, type ready in the chat box. It's my honor to introduce today's distinguished speaker, Mr. Tarun Sir. Sir is the Senior Research Associate at Gujarat National Law University and is associated with Gujarat National Law University Center for Sports and Entertainment Law. With nearly a decade of experience, he has worked extensively at the intersection of sports governance, athlete rights, regularity, integrity, and public policy. He has led and contributed to multiple funded research projects as principal investigator focusing on sports governance reform. His writing regularly appearances on platforms such as Law in Sport, Live Law, The Economic Times, and The Leaflets. In addition to sports law, Mr. Tarun Mr. Tarun Sir actively teaches and engages with technology law with a particular focus on the use of technology in sports. His teaching and research explore legal as well as regulatory issues surrounding artificial intelligence, data analytics, digital governance, and athlete data protection in the sporting ecosystem. We are honored to welcome you, sir, to this session. Without any further delay, I would like to hand over this mic to you, sir.
Shivani, thank you very much for this introduction. Thanks everyone for joining in, and most importantly, thank you to Naksh Foundation for this opportunity. What Shivani just mentioned about my background in terms of sports law and policy, which is the essential area where I teach and do my research. But whenever I get an opportunity to talk about information technology or technology and law, artificial intelligence and law, I don't miss an opportunity because that's another subject which is very, very close to my heart. First of all, is everyone okay with English, or do you want me to do a mix of English and Hindi? Those are two languages that I know. I'm really sorry. Yeah, Sneha, you raised your hand. Or was that a thumbs up and by chance you raised your hand? Was that the mistake? Mix, please. Perfect. Arpita said mix, please. Anybody else who's okay with mix? Or do you want me to stick to English? I think a lot of thumbs up are happening, so I'll keep it as a mixed thing. I think a lot of things can be discussed better in Hindi. English, perfect. Tanvir, I'll keep it in English, and whenever, if anybody does not understand anything in English, by any chance, please feel free to ask me in Hindi. Any other language, I'm really sorry. I understand a bit of a few languages, but I can't speak them. So whatever you think, you can use any medium to express yourself and ask questions. It's a Sunday evening, so I can totally understand a lot of people might not want to be here, just like me. I would, if given an opportunity, I would never be here. I'll be enjoying myself on Sunday because again, tomorrow is Monday. The good part is tomorrow is 26th January, so we don't have a working Monday. But look, Monday has its own blues. I'm sorry, but again, it's a great opportunity to discuss something. Generally, I cover a lot of legal aspects when I teach cyber crimes, but today I'm not going to talk too much about law because I think that is something that a lot of people do talk about. Today, I want to talk about something which I've experienced myself, which I've been a prey of in terms of not, there's nothing, no cyber crime happened to me, at least none that I know of. But I've been a part of that kind of a person in the society who really didn't understand the psychology behind cyber crimes happening, and then why a particular person becomes a victim of it, right? And this is something that I found very interesting when I was preparing for this lecture. That why not look at the psychological aspect of it? And of course, because of the psychological aspect, the policy, the law comes into the picture because then you understand what are the needs of the society when you want to develop something. Before I show you what I'm going to discuss today, I want to open this floor for everyone to tell me, what do you know about cyber crimes? What kind of cyber crimes do you think there are? And if you are comfortable, if you want to share a story of yourself or anybody that you know of who's been a victim of a cyber crime, I want to open this to the participants. What do you know about cyber crimes? Give me examples of cyber crimes, and you can tell me real cyber crimes or anything that you might have seen in a movie or a series. Please feel free to express yourselves. The best way is to raise your hand, unmute yourself, and give the example. Cyberbullying. I think Mohammed Yasser has said cyberbullying. Yasser, if you can maybe unmute yourself and give us a bit about what cyberbullying essentially is. And then Taranveer, I'll come to you. Yeah. Yasser, if it's possible for you, maybe unmute yourself and give an example of cyberbullying. What essentially happens in cyberbullying? Is it possible for you to unmute yourself, Yasser? When any person is harassed online due to something like his appearance. All right, that's a great example. Yes, Taranveer, you had raised your hand. If you can unmute yourself and give an example.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, sir. So one of the example of cybercrime is nowadays sexual and sexuality on internet is being promoted.
Okay.
Many of the boys or many of friends of a person make a fake account of a girl and they sexually exchange the things and all that stuff. And after that, they either make the fool of that person or they blackmail that person. This is also a big cybercrime happening nowadays.
Absolutely. Also, Taranveer, if you can introduce yourself, where are you from? What do you do?
Yeah, sir, I am from Patiala, Punjab. I am pursuing my third year law from Punjab University, Patiala.
Oh, brilliant. Perfect. Thank you for that input, Taranveer. That's absolutely correct. Anybody else? What Taranveer mentioned about is, there are times when people share their intimate pictures with each other, videos with each other, and then it turns out to be a fake account, and then that particular person who has, taken your pictures, your videos, blackmail you, and use it, maybe use more of those pictures and put it online. So all these things are happening. That's absolutely bang on, absolutely correct. There is something on the chat box, and then Ritika, I'll come to you. Just a moment. Matrimonial fraud, emotional financial losses. Preet, if you can unmute yourself, maybe. Very interesting points. If that's possible for you, Preet. Maybe unmute yourself and tell us what exactly do you mean by matrimonial fraud, emotional fraud, or financial loss. If that's possible. Sorry, I can't unmute myself. Perfect. No problem. Maybe if you could put up the chat box, Preet, a little bit of details, then we can understand. Till then, we'll go to Ritika. Ritika, please go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, sir. So, as per my definition of cybercrime, I consider it any of illegal activity or action that anyone performs targeting someone or to disrupt their mental life, mental health, using a computer or a network device.
Okay.
It
Okay.
may be.
Ritika. If you can introduce yourself as well, Ritika.
So, hi everyone, I'm Ritika, and currently I'm pursuing my third year in economics honors in Delhi University.
Oh, you're in DU. Which college, Ritika? Are you from ARST?
Yes, sir, yeah.
Oh, perfect. That's why your name has it. Perfect. So just for everybody's information, I studied in Jamia Millia, so I know a lot about Delhi. For 5 years, I was there. Perfect. Shivank, please go ahead.
Good evening, sir, and good evening, all students. I am Advocate Shivang, who is pursuing my LLM from Children Welfare Center College of Law affiliated with University of Mumbai.
Right.
I am here to describe about the types of cybercrime taking place in contemporary world time. There are many types of cybercrimes which are taking now place nowadays. Like some are related to financial, some are related to sexual abuse or extortion, some are related to identity theft, and many more types of modus operandi.
Perfect.
Uh, so, first type of mainly happening crimes which are in cyberspace taking place nowadays. These are financial fraud. Their modus operandi is different in case to case, like in
Excuse me.
money frauds, which are taking place like online fake websites for selling products, and there from there they stole your financial data and use it for financial fraud.
Okay.
And second type of like uh, sexual crimes, like which are sextortion mainly, where people use your sex sexual images or sexual content to abuse against your image damaging.
Okay.
And the third type of crimes which are prevalent, like is which are newly introduced, like people nowadays asking for your phones during the street,
Okay.
like they are in emergency and they took your phone for calling, and then suddenly send a SMS using your phone and transfer your money or something, like using USSD code of your UPI.
Okay.
That's a very newly introduced crime. Like
Okay.
people ask your phone in hurry on like why is a rush place, like stations and on roadside, like they lost their phone and he need to call their parents or something.
Okay. Perfect. I think that's absolutely correct, Shivang, to a lot of extent. You've given a good brief about number of crimes that are there. There are two things on the chat box which I'm really going to wrap up very quickly. I think three actually. Oh, that's two messages. Nowadays, it becomes common for people to find matches on the web. However, it doesn't go smoothly every time. Many times people get fraud in return after investigation. A lot of time, money, and everything possible. Investment of a lot of time, money, and everything. Later, get only pain that they can't even share with others. I am cybersecurity professional. I have found many such victims. So case studies, absolutely great. That's a great point. I think matrimonial crimes, on I won't call them the matrimonial crimes specifically, but even in terms of dating, I think we've got a number of apps that are out there, Bumble and Hinge and Tinder and a lot of other apps. And I've also spoken to people, whenever I've got an opportunity, where they've said that the way the profile was, it wasn't the same when we met the person. We went into the relationship as well and became very abusive. Sometimes it was absolutely a fraud profile, fake profile. There's nothing there. Money was extorted or my personal information was given. And then, whatever Shivang mentioned, sometimes you share your pictures with these people and it becomes a major, major problem. Akash has also given a great definition. Any crime which is committed due to the medium of online and comes under cyber law is cyber crimes. Absolutely. Now let's, Sneh has put something very, very good on online blackmailing. Firstly, people online get very close to you, and then when something will go wrong or indifferent, then they will blackmail by editing or posting private chats or calls, and will at the end make it difficult for the victim. Absolutely, Sneha. I think online blackmailing, online bullying are again two very notorious kind of cyber crimes. The modus operandi can differ from person to person and from experience to experience, and it is very, very taking in terms of your mental health, in terms of sometimes it becomes absolutely financial frauds, even your personal images that you've just mentioned, Sneha, they go out and it becomes a problem for a human being. The biggest problem with cybercrime essentially is, ladies and gentlemen, that it's digital footprint, and it's very difficult now to get out of the whole digital footprint. What is a digital footprint? For example, if I put a comment somewhere, if I put a picture of myself somewhere, if I put a like somewhere, these are all digital footprints. Some of them are active and some of them are passive. I don't want to get into the details of digital footprint, but read about digital footprint. And now with how our new cyber laws have come into the picture, we have got a very recent 2023 act, which is called the DPDPA, which is our personal data act, which has come in, digital personal data act, which has come in. You've got something called right to be forgotten or right to erasure, but again, that's an absolute different conversation that we will have maybe at the end of the session, where I'll tell you about these new things that have come in. Now, what I've prepared today is something which I found very interesting. These are the six things that we are going to cover in the next 45 minutes. Not 45 minutes, I'm going to try to finish them in half an hour. And then, please stop me wherever you want to, wherever you get an opportunity to ask a question. Let's make it as interactive as possible. Need to just mention about AI-driven attacks. That's a new problem which has come in with artificial intelligence being used by cyber criminals. That's a great pointing to. In the first slide, which is called Before You Say Hello, I'm going to show you, a small chat, right? You read the chat, give yourself a minute, and think and tell me how you're going to respond to this particular call, and what will be your next step, right? We're going to then talk about something called social engineering, which is very important, something which is the foundation of a cybercrime, and cybercrime specifically, that how people fall into them. We're going to then talk about something called cognitive overload, which is something that I also learned very recently. And this is actually, again, one of the foundations of how people fall into cybercrimes. Cognitive overload. We are going to discuss what it is. Then we are going to look into what a lot of experts call social engineering attacks, which are various forms of how cybercrimes happen. And then what can be done, from an individual perspective to not fall into these systems. And then, a little bit about what laws do we have, what kind of safeguards and helplines do we have, right? I'm going to show you a slide. I hope you can read it. If not, I'll try to. Yeah, perfect. I think you'll be able to read it now. Read this, take a minute, and tell me what are you going to do in such a scenario. And be very honest. Unfortunately, I think if this would have been a physical, class, this would have been more interesting, because we would have then tried to stimulate an exact situation. But let's just look into this and see how you're going to react to this. If you can't read, just let me know. I'm going to read it for you. Take a minute. And try to put yourself in this situation, that you're actually in an office right now. It's a busy day, running around, and then this call comes. Because this kind of call comes in where somebody tells you this, where Tarun tells you, this is the situation. Okay, perfect. You're giving answers that this is a scam call and all of these things. That's not the question. My question is something else. My question is, if this call comes in, you have to understand the scenario, right? Right now, all of us are in a free mind, and that's why it's difficult to relate to it. But imagine you're in a class or in the office, a call comes from which looks very authentic in terms of a call coming in, and this person calls you and tells you that there is this issue, this is your number, and this is the last four digits of your number. We have seen that there is some kind of transaction that's happening. We have blocked it. We want to reopen it, and we need your information. How will you respond and react to that particular situation? Okay, Aisha said she'll cut the call. Lakshita said there is a high chance a person with a lot of honest plate already might subconsciously fall in the trap. That's a great point. After being aware in that situation, I'll end up the call. Perfect. Take the detail of the call and report it to the cybercrime helpline and online. I will not respond to the call online. This is a scam. Bank never calls for verification of identity verification. It is a fraud call. Great points. I think everybody has given great points. But all of us right now sitting in this session are saying that this is going to be the scenario. But still in India, every day, every hour, a lot of people get into this scenario and they lose a lot of money, a lot of private information, a lot of private data. If we are so smart, in responding to such a situation, then why do we have so many things happening, when it comes to cyber crimes? What do you think is the reason? And the Sneha has also put something. We'll call you right back. Then I will check certain details in afterwards. And after checking, we'll block the contact, especially in rural areas where digital divide is wide. There is a lack of awareness, mental block. Great points about lack of awareness. And I think Akash, you've just struck the nail at the correct spot, called mental block. What kind of information do you think? What kind of mental block, Akash, do you think is going to happen here, and why? Why that mental block? As it creates urgency, probably most people fall in the trap. Shivanka said, no banks or government authority asking a personal details. All right, Neetu has said that. Lack of cyber security awareness, Preeti, that's a great point. But I'll come to Akash. Akash, why do you say there is going to be a mental block? For what reasons? If you can unmute yourself, Akash, that would be great.
Good evening, sir. First of all, if a person is working in a multiple work and he's invested in a regular way and he gets a call, he doesn't think that अरे ये तो बैंक से नहीं हो सकता है, बैंक का नाम बताया, सब कुछ बताया और उसने एक सिचुएशन डाला इधर पे कि आपका पैसा जो है वो रिस्क में है, तो वहीं पे हमारा पहला माइंड शिफ्ट होता है मेरे पैसे में बचाऊं, तो वो बचाने के चक्कर में इंसान एक मेंटल ब्लॉक में चला जाता है और उसको सारी चीजें खोल के बता देता है। मोस्टली मुझे ऐसे लगता है सर।
बिल्कुल ठीक लगता है। That's the reason why a lot of us fall trapped to these kind of situations. You're absolutely correct, and that's why you've got so many series coming in like Jamtar and all these series, because it's actually happening. Maybe all of us might be, now we understand these things. But when the situation comes in, it's an absolutely different ball game. There was a time when kind of cyber arrest attack happened on me. This was like 8, 9, 10 months ago, maybe a year ago. But I was aware because I've been teaching cyber crimes and all these things, so I'm aware that what kind of situations can happen. And maybe I was free at that point of time, so I could really take in the information and then make a rational decision. But when people working in colleges, people people working in multinationals, people who might come from a background where money, I'm sure everybody loves money and everybody wants it, but people who are very scared of how these situations can happen, who don't have exposure to these kind of scenarios. When such situation happens, what Akash mentioned is a very, very good word. It's called mental block. And how does this mental block happen? 11:30 in the morning, it's a weekday, you're running around with mails. Such situation comes in, you get absolutely, there's an anxiety that comes inside you, and you really want to solve issues. There are actually studies which have been done by top-notch research organizations. I was reading, I think, one of the studies of Stanford, if I remember correctly, where they said that most of these cyber attacks happen on a Friday evening. Why do you think they happen on a Friday evening? These kind of cyber attacks. Why Friday evening?
People are usually free because they have completed the day and now they are available. Because
Aisha, if people are free, don't you think it will be easy for them to take the information and make a rational call?
Yes, because during weekdays, when they
Yeah.
are usually busy, they will cut the call that, okay, please call me later, I'm busy. So that's why maybe I
Okay,
think.
okay, fair point, fair point. Absolutely, these are all fair points. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. End of the week and wrapping up, right? Workload due to weekend. Great, but there was a very interesting point, by the way, made in that particular study. I think it was Stanford,
Mhm.
where they said that why these things happen on a week, on a Friday, because for the next 2 days, that's Saturday and Sunday, the banks are shut. So you won't be able to make any kind of move at that point of time. You will have to wait for 2 days, for anything. And 2 days is like a great time for any cyber attack person who wants to take your money out, because they know for 2 days bank is not going to help you. तब तक सारा पैसा डिस्ट्रीब्यूट हो चुका होगा जहां पर से भी उनको निकालना होगा. There will be no immediate things coming in. So this is exactly what these psychological things are. I'll tell you why I'm telling you these kind of things. At one point of time, I had friends, who had faced these cyber attacks. And I used to think, and I'll be very honest and sorry for using the word, I thought that, how can you be so naive, or how can you be so stupid? And then I understood that this is not naive and stupid. This is actually manipulation. The people who are doing these cyber crimes actually manipulate you. And good, if I have not fallen into these things, good for me. But it does not mean I might not, I will not fall in them. I might fall in them in the future. But people who have, if they're not stupid, they're just manipulated. And that's what social engineering is all about. There is a definition of social engineering from a cyber security perspective, which we are going to learn about today. Any questions till now? If I'm going too fast, are you understanding everything? Do you want to give your inputs as to how things should go? My speed is okay. You're understanding everything. You can give me a thumbs up. Perfect. Let's go to the next slide and understand the scenario of social engineering. Now, what is social engineering from a cybersecurity perspective? Social engineering is a tactic which I just mentioned, where you manipulate somebody, where you influence somebody to gain certain kind of control of their computer system, maybe, or take their very important personal and financial details, right? And actually, cyber criminals use this situation to do it. What we mentioned in the previous slide, you call somebody at a time where the mind would be divided, right? You would want to put in a scenario how how you communicate something, your tonality, the urgency is there, but there is a calmness, so that you fall for it. The kind of information that you're going to give to the person to set that kind of a foundation. You give the last 4 digits of the bank account, which is something which will put you, which will tell you to go a little back. Correct name of the bank, your details which are which they have taken from somewhere, and you would there is a possibility that you would fall prey to it. And that is what social engineering is all about. And there is through that social engineering, there is something called social engineering attacks. Anybody who can tell me various kind of attacks that happen, do you know the names of these attacks? Anybody who's ever heard of this situation called, all right, Sneha has raised their hand. Sneha, if you can unmute yourself. And then Shivang. First, Sneha. Sneha. Can't hear you if you're speaking, Sneha. And if you're not, if you can just put it on the chat box. Shivang, if you can maybe unmute yourself.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you've raised your hand, Shivang.
These type, there are two types of mainly attacks which are led by one is like phishing and
Okay.
another is hacking.
Is what? I'm sorry, what is the second one?
Hacking.
Hacking. All right. If you can give a quick, definition of phishing and hacking, what happens in phishing and what happens in hacking?
Phishing is a type of social engineering where victim gives their details in disguise,
Okay.
and in hacking, hacker use their vulnerabilities of operating system or any platforms to
Right.
steal the data.
Perfect, great. Hold on to that thought, Shivang. You're absolutely correct. We are going to come to these various kinds of phishing and hacking. Anybody else who knows these different kind of social engineering attacks that happen with people? Phishing is one, which we're going to talk about, and hacking is another. Do you know something called dumpster diving? What is dumpster diving? Perfect. No problem. We are going to look into this as well. Very interesting things that are there. And I'm pretty sure you've seen all of these things in some movie or heard it in some kind of news, or somebody maybe given you an incident, but you don't know the exact word for it. And these are things which all of us do on regular basis, and we don't understand what can be the repercussions of these kind of things. But hold that thought. We're going to get into it. First, let's look into something very important called cognitive overload. Now, what's cognitive overload? Now, the situation that I gave you, and what I just mentioned about tonality and all, cognitive overload is a situation where you don't have the bandwidth to process a lot of material that's been told to you, right? Now, and like you're in your office and somebody calls you, and now, whenever we're speaking, maybe at home as well, your parents call you while you're in office, and you're like, "Ki, please jaldi se bolo, main bahut kaam mein hu." That kaam mein hu is not like you don't want to listen to them. It's not like that. It's not like that, and वो आके घर पे बोलते कि तुम अच्छे बच्चे नहीं हो, मेरी बात नहीं सुनते. It's not like. It's cognitive overload. आपका बॉस जो आपके साथ काम कर रहा है, वो आप पे चिल्ला रहा है या चिल्ला रही है because of a number of things. You've got some deadlines to meet, and then there is this house thing which is there. You're also thinking in your head कि यार कल उसकी फोटो कितनी अच्छी थी, so उस पर मेरी ऐसी फोटो क्यों नहीं डलती. And these are realities. It happens to all of us. On social media, मेरी फोटो इतनी खराब थी, उसमें इतने कम. Now all this information, in all of this information, this phone call comes in. Right, where your mind is supremely divided, and that person gives you so much of information which you never thought a random person would have, right? For example, as I mentioned, the last four digits of your bank account number, your name, your address, where your bank is, and all of this information coming in, and uske beech mein that person tells you that we just saw that there was there was a fake transaction that was happening, or fraud transaction that was happening. We have stopped it, but we think it's going to happen again. Please give us this information very quickly so that we tell our fraud prevention department, and this person will help you. और फिर आपको कोई भी ऐसा cyber attack नहीं होगा. Now this is too much of information to process. कभी network issue आ रहा है उसमें, कभी कुछ आ रहा है. You're running around to find that. You're asking your friend कि मुझे जल्दी से copy दे, मुझे OTP लिखना है, जल्दी से मेरे को याद नहीं रहेगा. All of this is cognitive overload, and this is what cyber criminals actually do with you. They will dump you with so much of information that you don't have the bandwidth to process them. And this is happening more and more in the new day and age, because how our work life has become, how are even there is no work life balance that has been happening. It happens with me as well, right? And because of this scenario, they manipulate you. And they use this kind of cognitive overload to do a number of social engineering attacks. Let's go through some 6 social engineering attacks, and let's see if you have ever, seen them, heard about them, or, faced them. And there are a number of them. I've just put them in, in 6 important categories. The first one is called phishing, which Shivank has already mentioned. Now, what is phishing? Have you seen the series called Jamtara on Netflix? Very, very, very famous series. Perfect. Taranveer has seen it. Others have seen it. Akash has also seen it. What happens in that series? If Taranveer, maybe you can unmute yourself and tell me what happens in Jamtara. Or Akash, whoever wants to.
Sir, basically, lot of people who belong to a rural area use a lot of devices to manipulate people while providing the details of bank accounts and using voice of a girl over the call and all these things to manipulate and to influence the people to get their bank details and offer them such kind of gifts that they will receive this amount of particular amount of money in their account. They have gotten a lottery and anything else. So the people give their details and they get they get involved into the cybercrime.
Absolutely. That's exactly what phishing is. What happens in phishing is that you get emails and texts and calls from a very trusted entity which you think is a very trusted entity. And because there is a trust factor which is there, you give out a lot of confidential information, and that confidential information is used against you. It can be, maybe your bank account details, the OTP that you've received, and that's what exactly phishing is. And it comes from the word phishing because you're trying to fish somebody. What do you think baiting would be? What is baiting? What is a bait? Taranveer actually answered that question first, but we'll go to Lakshita. Lakshita, what do you think would be happening in baiting? And also, Lakshita, if you can introduce yourself as well.
Hello, sir. My name is Lakshita. I'm a law student in second semester at UFLC, University of Rajasthan.
Okay.
So baiting is basically luring someone, for example, free Wi-Fi or free apps.
Absolutely. What happens in a baiting is, it's again a term which comes out of this thing called phishing, where you give a bait to somebody. You try to lure somebody by saying that, this is a very tempting offer. You just click on this particular link and you'll get this. What Tanveer also mentioned that happens in this series called Jamtara, and you get really lured by it, and you take it, and it's actually nothing but a cybercrime happening to you. Right? That's what baiting is. I think we've got two more hands raised. Okay, one more. Shivang, you wanted to add something, or is this what you wanted to say as well?
I am sir want to tell that baiting example we can generally see in the crypto trading world. Sometimes we get some wallet phrase online to say that I am unable to access my wallet. Can you access that? Where you can see lots of balance in that account, and then people try to withdraw that. For that, first they need to transfer a gas fees or something in that wallet, and they got scammed in that way.
That's correct, Shivan. Great point. Perfect. Let's go to the third. There's a very famous movie, by the way, if you want to see baiting. Baiting also happens, in a way, like, for example, uh, you know, like for example, a USB has been kept somewhere which says confidential document, and you get really lured by it, that what this would be. You become very curious and you put it inside your laptop just to check, and it's nothing but a cybercrime that has hit you. There is a very famous 2018 movie which is actually a horror flick, but it starts because of baiting, called Unfriended. I don't know if you've seen this movie called Unfriended. And Shivank, you've raised your hand.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. It's on that incident, a movie from US, like a federal bank hacked by a hacker using a word key.
Are you giving out the movie? Are you telling what the movie is all about?
This is a real incident, but a movie adaptation from that
Also related. Yeah. It's called Unfriended Dark Web. It's a 2018 movie, and no spoilers given. Whenever you get an opportunity, do watch this movie, everyone. It's a horror flick, so anybody who doesn't like horror, don't get into it. But it's based on baiting, that there is a laptop which is kept there, and then what happens when people pick that laptop without understanding what this laptop is. So just watch this movie called Unfriended Dark Web. It's a 2018 movie. Tailgating or piggy banking. Anybody who's ever heard this term called tailgating? What do you think happens in tailgating?
In tailgating, somebody follows.
Yeah, just let others also take an opportunity. Akash, you can go ahead.
Tailgating, somebody follows you bit by bit. Every step they follow you, and as soon as they get a chance, they try to like scam you.
Absolutely. So essentially, tailgating is nothing but a physical breach, actually. You must have seen in a lot of these spy movies and all that somebody is following one person, and that person wants to get into a very secured situation or a very secured facility, and this other person is waiting for that person to maybe put those numbers so that the door opens and they get into this thing, and so that they also get to know the number, and then you get inside that facility. That's exactly what tailgating or piggy banking is, that you get into into a system by physically breaching that system so that you can then manipulate all the data which is out there. Great point. What is scareware? And there is actually a very important 2011 incident, which is a scareware incident. Scareware. Sneha, you were absolutely correct. If you wrote tailgating for tailgating, you wrote to follow someone. That's absolutely correct. What would be scareware? Anybody wants to give it a shot? Okay, I'll give you a shot. A situation. What happens in scareware? Now, what happens essentially in a scareware is, and this used to happen. It still happens. I think it used to happen when technology was just coming in, right? Where somebody would call you, right, and would reach out to you through email or primarily calling you, and they say that, look, we think that your particular laptop or your computer does not have this software. There is a very high chance that a virus or a malware is going to get into your computer and all your data will go out. It will be vanished. We think that you should put this software in your computer, and this is going to give you a lot of help. There will be no breaching of your data and so on and so forth. And when these, all computers and everything, when they were developing, everybody used to fall for it. People still fall for it. People who don't understand technology properly, and there are so many things that are coming that take care of your firewall, take care of your data. All these ads are coming in, and you, because you thought that this is correct, you actually get into it, take that particular software, install it in your laptop, and it's nothing but a malware. A malware which takes away all your data, all your passwords, all your credentials, and then it's nothing but a cybercrime. In 2011, by the way, there was a very famous incident which had happened, which is called Operation Trident Tribunal. Now, what had happened in Operation Trident Tribunal? FBI started this investigation in the US, and there were 6-7 other countries which were involved. I think UK was also there, and Australia was also there, if I remember correctly, where a particular gang had sold $72 million of this kind of software to various people, telling them that this is a very important software for your laptop, please, or for your computer system. Please take it, it's going to help your computer. And as soon as people started downloading these softwares, all their data from the laptop was gone. And FBI had to start a serious investigation on this. This particular investigation is called Operation Trident Tribunal. You can read about it. I don't want to get into it. There can be a separate lecture on Operation Trident Tribunal, because it's so important. But the amount of software that was sold by this gang was $72 million. Now that's insane amount of money. Read about it whenever you get an opportunity, and whenever somebody reaches out with you who you don't know and they're talking about this kind of software which is going to really help you, please be supremely aware about it, be aware of it. It can be a scareware attack on you. What is dumpster diving? What do you think would be dumpster diving? This is something which our parents, at least my parents, used to really tell me to do. But we thought that, ऐसा करना है, ऐसे ही कर सकते हैं इसको. What is dumpster diving? If nobody has a clue, then we'll go to Shivang. But before that, I want to open it for everyone. Just a tukka maybe. What do you think would be dumpster diving?
Sir, maybe identity theft. I think so.
How identity theft currently? What do you think? How people would do it?
For example, people basically search for your very personal knowledge or information, and they take the information to text you or to email you.
How do they take your information?
While searching about you from the very fresh, like if I search your name on LinkedIn or your social media accounts, I could be able to know somehow about you and your likings, dislikings, like that way.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Why do you think, let's just change the question maybe. Why do you think shredders came into the world? Shredding machines. You know what a shredder? Everybody knows what a shredder is. Shredding machine, where you shred the paper. Why do you think those things came into the picture? Aisha, you wanted to say something, I think.
Yeah, so that the document or anything that we have on paper can be easily scraped off.
Okay. And where do you think shredder machines are generally used? Where just if you
Maybe
know of
I
any
can
place.
guess. Maybe banks.
Okay,
Maybe.
banks. Where else? Are you a student or are you a professional?
I am a PhD student. I it's recently started.
Okay, brilliant.
PhD
Shredder
management.
machines are also used a lot in examination departments of colleges. At least it's used in my college where I
Oh,
teach, so that scripts are shredded and nobody gets information about that. Now, why do you want these shredding machines? Because of this issue called dumpster diving. Dumpster diving is nothing, ladies and gentlemen, but attackers really go into the trash to go through physical information that's out there about you. People sometimes just throw away their bank account details or कि यार ये ज्यादा निकाल लेते print out बाकियों को वो करते हैं, they would just tear it once and throw it. Sometimes it's your income tax certificate where people throw it, or any other information where you've written something about your password or something you did not realize, you just threw the paper. People actually go through this particular physical trash and get to know confidential information about you. And that is exactly what dumpster diving is. That attackers get into the physical trash to get any kind of sensitive information about you so that they can actually use and manipulate you. And that's why these shredding machines, we think ये सिर्फ कूड़ा है, इसको ऐसे ही फेंक देते हैं. It's not like that. That particular kooda can be supremely useful for somebody to take your confidential information. So next time, whenever you're throwing away any paper where you think this is confidential information, please tear it off properly. Make sure it's given away in a proper way and nobody uses it. Of course, you can't check it to the last station where it's going, but at your level, make sure that this kind of information is thrown properly and discarded properly, because it can be actually used against you. Right? And last social engineering attack would be quid pro quo, where I think again Taranveer has already mentioned that they, somebody will reach out to you, and quid pro quo is nothing but I give you something and you give me something. They'll be like, we are going to give you the best of the services. Somebody would call you from a good, talking from a good company. We will give you great antiviruses and all these things. You're like, great, this sounds very good, 50% off. You're like, this is even better, give me 60, that 70 दीजिए आप 60 में क्या लेंगे. You're like best, and then they take away all your sensitive credentials from you while telling you that we are making your profile and all. So that's quid pro quo. Now, these things I'm pretty sure you must have heard about. You must have experienced, unfortunately, but be very, very careful next time when any of this is happening to you, because it happens. People try it on humans every now and then. It might not have happened to us, great, lucky, or it would have happened and we did not really, got into the trap. But people do this. Scareware, dumpster diving, baiting are things which people try to do every now and then. So maybe next time after this session, be very cautious how you're throwing your sensitive information data, because it might be used by somebody in the coming future against you. So be very, very cautious of it. Now, how can you help yourself in such a situation? Very simple. These are the 6-7 points that I want you to remember. I think there's one more slide after this, and we are just on time. First of all, I think this is something that everybody knows. I'm sure you must have, you must be doing these things. Never open any kind of email which is suspicious, right? Just delete it whenever you see it. Even or sometimes with technology coming in, somebody may talk about AI-driven attacks. You opening that email can be a problem as well. Forget about reading it and clicking on a link which is given. Maybe opening the email can be a cyber attack. So be very, very cautious about them next time. Use multi-factor authentication called MFA. I'm really bad with MFAs. I'll tell you the reason why. मुझे याद ही नहीं रहता यार. When I put some password or something and I put another, face recognition and all is great. But if there is two-way password, I actually forget it. So, it's something that you have to be very aware of, that, you have to write it somewhere, give it to some confident, your confidant, please remember, which I think a lot of people do. But the MFA is a very, very important tool which has come into the picture, where it's actually gotten difficult for people to breach it. Of course, with technology and artificial intelligence, people have been doing it, but still, MFA is a good way to protect yourself. tempting offers, what we mentioned about the, in quid pro quo or in baiting, offer, that offer, be very cautious about them, extremely cautious about them. And maybe you are cautious. I'm telling this because people really fall for these kind of offers because they don't understand the gravity of such things, right? Clean up your social media. Now, this is something which is extremely important. And that's why, a lot of people say don't be on social media too much because people are tailing you, people are getting your information, the picture that you're putting, somebody might be just telling you how you might have an open account, you might be an influencer, and you're putting stories of a particular cafe that you go, or, a particular place that you go, and they try to get all the information about you and then try to manipulate you. So keep cleaning up your social media. I would also recommend, though I use social media myself way too much, don't put things out there too much, very personal things specifically, because it can get really problematic. And I've, a lot of people mentioned in the chat box as well, people are tailing you there as well, because it's very easy to tail you there. You just need to have a mobile phone. I'm sitting here in Gandhinagar and I might be tailing somebody in Delhi. Now that's problematic. So make sure filtered, limited content goes out there, because it's a very bad world out there, unfortunately. Install and update antiviruses and other software. I think this is something which is now come under control. When computers and all were really building up, you used to have a new installation every day, but still, updating your systems, updating your late gadgets and all is very, very important, because with these updates, a lot of bug fixes comes in, a lot of cyber security tools come in. So very important. Make sure your parents' phones are also up to date. I think it happens with the generation before us, our parents' generation and all, where they really don't understand gadgets, which I don't blame them for, because they don't come from the generation where gadgets were made, and that's why they have those 20 updates coming in. They never do that. We get really frustrated with our parents also that after क्यों नहीं करा. But next time, more than being frustrated, make sure it's updated so that they, their phones are also very secured. Whenever a cyber attack happens, they actually try to look into these kind of vulnerabilities: age, gender, you know, the location, geographical location, education, level of education. And it's very important to keep our people who are around us secure as well, and back up your data regularly. That's, I think, everybody tells you, because it helps you. For example, if your WhatsApp chat is backed up and all, if you change your device, it comes with you in the new device as well. So these are some things that one should remember. From a legal standpoint, two very important things that you should remember. One is that if any kind of cyber attack of this sort happens to you, there is something called the National Cybercrime Reporting Portal, where you can put in the complaint. I think when you go for an FIR, they sometimes ask for that as well. That have you put the complaint there as well? So you must do that, because that's very, very important. From there, they send it to the relevant police station, and that police also gets involved into this. And number two is this Indian Cyber Helpline, Cybercrime Helpline, which is 1930. Use it. But most importantly, I think what Naksh is doing is absolutely brilliant. Be very aware of these kind of things. And with artificial intelligence coming in, I think these kind of situations are going to increase. Of course, technology is also increasing to counter such situations, but the crimes are also unfortunately increasing. So be absolutely aware about these things. Keep yourself up to date. If there is any question you don't understand, there are free awareness programs happening everywhere. There are great YouTube videos about these things as well. So keep watching these things as well, just to keep yourself secure, because it can get really, really problematic. It's not only about money, right? It's about a basic identity theft that can happen to you. A number of, somebody mentioned about how people bully and manipulate you online. So be very aware about these things. There are very strong legal compliances that need to be taken into consideration. There are punishments toward criminal act. So be very aware about these things, because you're a citizen of this country. You should know these things, right? Perfect. That's from my side, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. I think we still have 6-7 minutes. We are open to questions. There's already one question on the chat box. Then I'll come to Aisha. And then I'll come to Taranveer as well. Okay, Taranveer has just put a clap. Thank you for that. So one question, as you told that one should post one should post much on any online platform, especially among youth. Insta is very common, and I also have a public account there. There, and I usually put reels and all. So is it harmful and dangerous? No, no. Looks like it's not about dangerous and harmful. It's about number one, whenever you're making these reels or whenever you're putting any data out there, what kind of data are you putting there is something that's important. Sometimes what happens is that people maybe make reels outside their house. So, what happens is that your address gets exposed. There are a number of times when people take pictures and they put something, and they're standing somewhere which is a very private space for somebody else, maybe. Be very cautious when you're doing these kind of things. And it's not wrong to have a public account. I'm not saying that you will have it, but be very cautious about these things. Unfortunately, if something happens, you should know where to reach out. What are these enforcement agencies that are there which are helping you? So be very cautious about these things. But nobody's stopping you from making this account. I would probably not be so open there. That's my personal choice. I've got a private account on Instagram. And I would, whenever I'm putting stories or anything, I would make sure that not a lot of confidential information is going out there. Now, that is something that one has to, see what kind of confidential information is going out there. But nobody's stopping you from making reels. I think it's a great way to express yourself, and you should use it. So there's no problem with that. I got no update after my cybercrime report was sent to the nearest Thana or police station. What to do? Please reach out to the police station again, Preet. And if they haven't, reached out to you and given you proper answer, please write to the again to the portal that your particular, report wasn't taken seriously. So you can reach out to the area DIG or the state city DIG as well and give a complaint against that particular police station. But please go and check first, why didn't they respond to it? Any reason that you got from them that why didn't they respond to you, Preet? Maybe you can type it, please, and then you can tell me about it as well. But if they haven't responded to you, please reach out to the police station again. Ask them why didn't they respond to respond to you, and there are higher authorities, the IG and DIG and all. You can put out the complaint against the police officer there, and there will be serious action taken against that particular person if that's not happened. Aisha, if you want to ask your question.
First of all, thank you very much. It was really enriching and an eye opener for me. And my question is that I got one email one day, and it just with the same email ID that I have, like Hotmail ID that I have, with the same Hotmail ID, and the person was trying to say that he or she has hacked my Hotmail ID, and when I re-verified the ID that he's using to mail me, it was the same. And I
Right.
couldn't. I mean, I have not shared my password anywhere, and I keep it very secure and safe. I neither log into any other device, but I
Right.
don't know why the person. And when I checked that the ID is just open with my own email
Mhm.
and nowhere else. So how is it possible, like a person having the same Hotmail ID as me and then trying to say that I have taken everything and this is your last chance, you have to give me money and only then I will leave, otherwise I'll mail it to anywhere, like mail your data to everywhere.
Great question. How they have actually replicated your email ID is something that need really been, really something that one should look into. Did you try to write to Hotmail about it? Their
No.
customer service or something? I should always do that.
Okay.
Because with technology coming in, people will, can maybe replicate and duplicate your email IDs, which I'm very sure that it's happening because there is some spelling mistake or something which is not seen in the naked eyes, for the first time, but then you realize it's something wrong. So maybe check the email ID again and report this. Reporting this is very, very important here. What happens is that number of times we don't report such situations because कि police involved हो जाएगी, फालतू में इतना काम forms भरने पड़ेंगे, which I totally understand. It can get very exhausting as well. I totally get it, but that's the correct way, to keep people under check.
Okay, and as you said that we must delete these spam emails. So sometimes we just open and we don't delete it, but we don't even keep it. So it's on junk only. So do you think that even keeping it, that is also problematic?
I would advise not to keep them. I keep on cleaning my spam whenever I get the opportunity. Today morning only, I've got two email IDs, actually three, including my official one. I've got a very old email ID. I go and clear that spam as well.
Okay, and last question is that how, like in scareware, how do we actually identify that, yeah, this because I have been also, getting these things on computer, that and install this antivirus, install
Right,
this. So how do
right.
we identify whether this is right or wrong?
I'll tell you. Whenever such kind of things, this is with me, and I think you're a student, so I can totally understand. We go for the lowest price wherever we are getting. I've also done it. My suggestion to everyone is never go to a duplicate, copy person or somebody from the outside. If that person is an authentic seller of a particular thing, then it's great. But if that person is not, I would not recommend you to go and take it from any kind of a shop, any kind of a software, anybody who's selling it. If I've got Apple products, right, I've got a phone, I've got a laptop, I've got a iPad as well. I would only go to the authentic Apple retailer to check or and distributor to check कि look ये problem है मेरे laptop पे आप एक बार देख के बताओ ये ठीक है कि नहीं. It's not like there वहाँ पर problem नहीं हो सकता, but वहाँ पे checks and balances है to counter such situation. Random लोगों से लेने में there is no check and balance. So don't try to get into this this scheme of thought कि ये शायद सस्ता मिल रहा है तो यहाँ से ले लेना चाहिए. It can be supremely counterproductive.
All right. Thank you so much for
Be
your
very
response.
cautious about that. Yeah. Shivang, I'll just come to you. I think there are two things which Preet has just mentioned. Shivani, I hope we have a couple of minutes to discuss things.
Sure, sir.
Perfect. They took written application at police station and later told me that to close it if I want wanted it. I demanded investigation into the case that they have not updated until now. I visited the police CEO. Also, they told me that only Thana investigated this type of case. They suggested me to wait for it. Okay, thanks for the information. Preet, if they have still told you, please go to the higher authority, to the DIG, cybercrime, or anybody, and tell them that this Thana is not doing their work properly. Take all the documents with you. So that it's, and if they've given a closure report to the case as well, ask them what is the closure report, show me the closure report as well. You have every right to ask about all this information. Tarunveer, if you want to see me on LinkedIn, just type Tarun full stop and GNLU and you'll find me. So that won't be a problem. Shivang, you have a question to ask.
Sir, I want to add about that email incident
Yeah.
because these are very common type of cyber attacks taking place also. These common generally happen in Hotmail or Outlook email because there is a vulnerability and they used to spam using email spoofing technique. So we can easily check that if we check about the email detail, there is a security certificate is filled.
Yeah.
It's only header which shows that it's your email, but when you check the details of email, there is you can see original email from which that email.
Brilliant. I think Aisha, you can just note that as well. There is a security certification that's given, so you can check that as well.
Okay, what kind of
Great.
security certificate?
I'm sure they must be written something that this is a certified email ID or something like that.
Oh, sure. Thank you
Just
so
check
much
that.
for this.
Perfect. I think this was great. This was very, very enriching. Thank you for your time. I think it's 6:02. We are bang on time. Shivani, over to you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for addressing questions with such clarity. This session was already reshaped our trainers' understanding digital risk and broader implications, technology on rights and governance. With that, the first day of cybercrime awareness series by Project CyberShield comes to an end. On behalf of Naksh Foundation and Project CyberShield, we extend our sincere gratitude to Mr. Tarun sir for delivering such an insightful and engaging session. His clarity and real world examples have given all of us a strong beginning to this journey. We would request you to fill out the post assessment form via the QR code displayed on your screen. Until then, stay aware, stay curious, and keep strengthening the world. Thank you so much.
Thanks everyone. Thank you. Absolute pleasure. Thank you.